Hello, everyone. We are back with another partner episode, and this time we have InfraCost and we have Hassan with us. Hello, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going, Steph? Doing well, doing well.
Good. I'm so excited to have you here. We've known each other for a while now, and I just cannot stop singing the praises of this tool. I love it so much ever since our first meetup where we met. And I was like, what is it? Who runs this? I need to speak to these guys. I need to make sure that all of my subscribers know about it. So I'm so happy that we finally got you on for one of these partner shorts.
Thanks for having me on. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, well,
Awesome.
I'll talk about it and I'll show you a little bit more of it as well.
Yeah, so we'll be doing a demo, asking some questions. But as always, if you have any follow-up questions, please feel free to drop us an email at costoptimization@amazon.com and also any comments underneath. But Hassan, why don't you give us a bit of a background on yourself?
For sure. So I'm Hassan. I'm one of the founders of InfraCost. I've been working in cloud cost space for about, I think it's been 12 years now, or maybe more. We started our first startup, which was a tool that would do a total cost of ownership calculation back in the day. This was before people were still deciding to cloud or not to cloud, and went on to build one of the first cloud cost management products, which is still running as part of the Flexera solution actually right now.
Nice.
Now more and more I saw a lot of stuff with engineering focus, and given our engineering background, we're like, what can we do for the engineers? And so that's when we built InfraCost, and I'll talk about more InfraCost later.
Amazing. And that is a definite, this is for the engineers. This is for those people. This is for you if you're an engineer watching, or if you know an engineer and think these guys would appreciate it, then definitely share this video. But do you want to talk maybe an overview of what InfraCost is before we go into the demo?
For sure. Okay. So it's basically everyone talks about this in the shifting left kind of phase, but we actually shift it left. So it's basically, the tagline is shifting FinOps left. Fully engineering focus. So what it does is it is a tool that sits in the CI/CD pipeline or your GitHub or GitLab, and anytime anyone makes a code change, an infrastructure's code change, we tell them before they buy it how much it costs. It's always surprises people who are not engineers that we don't have a checkout screen for infrastructure, right? It's like, imagine going to a supermarket and there's no prices anywhere. And then at the end, your credit card gets charged. And so that's what happens in infrastructure world right now. And it's like, all right, can we address that? Can we have that shopping cart being shown? So that's what it is.
Like shopping cart as an idea. I've never thought it's true though. Like when you go in there, there's no pricing information because you just expect to know it. The same as, I guess, it's not really when you deploy general, like if you go manually. But yeah, I like this idea of this is what's going to cost you.
Yeah, exactly. And help the engineer make better decisions at that point, because that's the right time to make those fixes. So if you see GP2 to GP3, we talk a lot about that, me and you. So it's like, all right, can we tell the engineer if they are using one of the old ones, hey, upgrade to the new one, or instance families, old instance families, things like that. So there's a lot of helping the engineer make those best decisions before you deploy, because once it's in the code, it's kind of the source of truth, and that'll live on forever.
Yeah, I was about to highlight before you said it as well. It's before you deploy. This is one of the best things. This isn't like the Kerr. This isn't like any other cost tooling where you're looking at the spend that's already happened, and it's not forecasting, it's not predicting what you've done. It's actually what will cost it when it's being built. So yeah. All right, let's get into the demo. I'm excited to see more about this. Okay.
Yeah, I love showing it because as soon as you show people, they're like, oh, I get it. So I'll show you in GitHub here, but it works in GitLab, anywhere like that as well, in your CI/CD. So once you have InfraCost integrated, by the way, the first part that I'll show you is free and open source, so you can see it, you can deploy it for yourself. And I'll call out which parts are our paid product, and they're different. So as soon as you integrate InfraCost, what it does is it looks out for IC changes, and anytime someone makes a change, it posts a comment like this. So it says, hey, the thing that you're changing right now is going to increase your costs by this much. And then this is the shopping cart. It says, here's every single resource you're buying, adding, and removing, and the cost of each one.
So it's kind of like a pre-receipt kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, here's what's in your shopping cart right now.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, look, you've got an M5 8XL. That's about $1,000. The storage volume is about $1. But look, you've also got provisioned input-output operations. And that's a pricey compared to the actual storage itself. So maybe you want to look at that as well. And so this is what I've seen when you put this in front of engineers and they get to know these costs before it happens. They will make the best choices. They will make the better choices right here. They're like, oh, I was surprised. I didn't know even that was how much that thing cost.
Yeah, especially when it comes to, like, I didn't know that had a cost. If someone's assuming there are little things like didn't really think about the storage cost, like you said, GP2 to GP3, but also people might assume they're on a free tier and then they're like skipping over that. And you're right, just generally that maybe you're like, oh, that's how much it costs. And as soon as you show that data to someone, you're right, there is that sense of ownership. Suddenly I'm like, oh, I'm spending that money. Is this the right decision?
Completely, exactly. So that's exactly what we've seen as well. The users of this tool are usually DevOps engineers, SREs, and people like that who take it and deploy it. Platform teams, a lot of platform teams deploy this as they decentralize the infrastructure provisioning. The other part that's been surprising and has been awesome to see is what happens after this cost comment gets posted. The more senior people, the more senior DevOps and SREs educate the junior people in the comments of the review. Like this is where the review is happening for security and code quality. So now we're seeing a lot more review of the cost as well. It's like, oh, this is way too high. We probably don't need this much. So we can probably bump it down to about this much. And that knowledge transfer only happens because this cost comment is now here and the context is actually appeared in front of them.
Yeah, and you're already integrating into things that you already use. Like you said, you're already having security checks. You might have other actions or whatever in your pipeline that are going to be, or tests or whatever. And so having this in here again, it means that your engineers, your developers don't have to go somewhere else. It's already here.
Completely. Exactly. And in fact, I think that's one of the keys. It's like, if you make it easy, people will action it. And that's where we went with the next part, which is, okay, so this part, what I just showed you into the cost comment is you can deploy it yourself. It's free. All you need is an API key from InfraCost, and that's free to get as well. This part that I'll show you is the paid product part of the version, where we actually do further checks. So we also then, I'll show you where you can set these, but you can set, hey, any resource that can be tagged requires a classification tag, and the values can be red, green, or blue. And so look, there's a typo in your tag value. It's main Terraform file, line number 9. Take like 15 seconds to fix it now, and that's it. It will be fixed going forward. Done.
Yeah. I mean, just to simplify again, like tagging and then making it again so you're pointing out. And even, like, it's so nice just telling me where to go. Very helpful.
we gotta be engineering focused. So all the founders are engineer backgrounds. So it's like, let's make it easy for the engineers. So there's a bunch of things like that. So there's those tags. And then every time we talk about GPT, GP3, I'm going to show this. I'll show you the actual full policy list. But it says, oh, look, you're using a root volume as a GP2. It should be changed to GP3 because it's just 20% cheaper and better. Like, instead of having to go through and learn every single new thing that comes out, we do that and codify it. So it's like, again, 15 seconds, let's fix the policy, and the code will start using the right thing from the get-go.
Yeah, and eventually people are gonna be like, well, I always get this notification about GP3. Why don't I just make GP3 the default and then just skip through this problem? So you want to try, you're subtly educating. I like it.
I love that. Exactly. Like, once you see, we have two parts. And one of the parts of the product is, first, when you deploy it, it'll actually scan your entire repository and tell you all the places that you're currently not doing it. So it's not just a pull request. It's actually proactive on, here's what the house looks like right now. And exactly as you said, like, once there is a lot of those, like, let's change the default, let's clean up environment. And then we have something called policy enforcement. So you can turn on, and it will block the pull request if specific tags aren't there, or specific resources are being used that you said no, and it sends an approval workflow. So someone can review it and say, okay, that's fine, you can use it and go through.
Nice. So there is that stage of like stopping someone spending it, but then you don't always have to have that if there's like, we need to deploy quickly for production or whatever
Exactly.
How do people get started with using it?
Yeah, good question. So we have a GitHub application, we have GitHub Actions. So if you go to infracost.io and look at our docs, it should be within a couple of minutes, you should have your first deployment and ready to go.
Nice.
So it's pretty easy. And because we don't need access to the cur, exactly as you said, it just fits into your development workflow. So it just fits into GitHub, and that's it. It starts adding the code and using the pricing from there.
Do you want to quickly show us where that is in GitHub?
Yeah, of course.
Is that easy to do?
Yeah. So if you go to InfraCost and you go to our doc section, our get started. So we can just do a brew install if you want to use the CLI and install it from there. But if you come down here into integrations, GitHub app, and so you after you type, you log into InfraCost, you click on a GitHub app, it'll take you to GitHub directly. It'll say, here's the install process. Here, the whole thing is here. We also work with GitHub Enterprise and self-hosted and things like that as well, and how the actual GitHub app works as well. So have a look through there. That's the way to start.
Amazing. So now we know about like how to set it up, what it's going to look like. There is also a dashboard part to this, isn't there?
Yes. So this is what the engineer, like exactly as you said, Steph, like engineer is got to be in the workflow. It's already like where you're working, so you can't leave. For the platform team and the FinOps team, they get access to InfraCost Cloud. And what that does is shows you a state of what's happening everywhere. So here is all the issues that are currently going through pull requests, and which ones have got pre-existing issues, which ones were prevented, which ones were fixed, and everything. It's kind of like what's happened since you've deployed InfraCost. And also, again, as I said, because we're preventative, like we don't start from the curve, we actually prevent this money going on to the bill in the first place. We show you how much money you've saved as well by using this tool.
Wow.
So that's very cool as well. One other thing I'll highlight, which is super interesting, is celebrating the engineers. This was an idea that came from Facebook. And what Facebook used to do is celebrate engineers who reduced CPU load cycles back in the first days of when Facebook launched. And so we were like, all right, what if people fix a bunch of issues in FinOps? Can we do that? And so now we say, look, these are the people who are fixing the issues and saving the most amount of money. It creates a bunch of intrinsic motivation.
That is so cool. I mean, if I was in this, I would constantly be fighting for my name to be in the top 3, but everybody knows I'm super competitive. So that is always the goal for me. But I love that. That's really cool. And I didn't know about that feature. So that's
yeah. Honestly, Steph, I've seen it work exactly as you said. Like people are like, hey, I just fixed a bunch of tagging issues. Why is my name on there? And it's like, all right, well, you need to merge the pull request first. Like it's got to be merged and then you'll get up there. It just can't be opened. But yeah.
I love it. And so is the dashboard part, is that free or is that a paid
This
part?
is the paid product. This is all the paid product. And if I show you our kind of the 3 phases here of what I showed you, what the engineer sees, where the FinOps policies, these are the list of policies we scan for. So you can see like, lifecycle policies, retention policies, old instance types, things like that. This is where you would see what the house looks like currently. And then the tagging policies this is how easy it is to set up. It's like, all right, everything that can be tagged requires a Vanta tag, a team tag, and an env tag. You can add as many as you want. And here are the list of values it can have, or a regular expression, or it just has to be set. I don't care what it is, but it has to have a value. And this is how you turn on enforcement and not. So this is the part that blocks the
powerful little toggle to turn on.
Yeah, exactly. The toggle. And it's super easy to set up, right? Because it's like you just type it up and that works seamlessly with the GitHub app and we're good to go. One other thing I'll show you is the guardrails. It's like a super proactive budget alert. It's like, all right, anyone can launch whatever they need. But if anyone spends more, wants to kind of increase our bill by more than $500, I want Hassan to be notified, Slack or Microsoft Team message to go out. And here's the same: block the pull request until the approval has been given, or just give them a warning. And you can have multiple layers of these and things like that as well.
Awesome. This is all like shifting left. And also to shout out, we did do an episode on Twitch, which is also on the YouTube channel with Haven. I'll link that in the show notes, where they talk about the shifting left concept and how they used InfraCost as well. And so, yeah, anything else you want to demo?
There's a bunch of other stuff. Custom price books. We support those for larger companies, EDP discounts, EA discounts, and things like that. There's Jira integration, where it actually puts the cost impact directly into Jira. So product managers also know the features you want have cost implications. Exactly. And there's a lot of other things, reporting and integrations and things like that. But those are the main features. So you can see kind of where we go, right? It's just shifting all that stuff left, help the engineer make the best decision at the right time, and then see kind of how those policies are impacting the actual environment end to end.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. I mean, so the big thing is go out, check out InfraCost, check out that free version. It's so simple. I was always like, oh, I have to set this thing up. And then I remember messaging you and you were like, literally it's like this. And then I did it and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that was really easy. I don't know why I was feeling like, oh, I have to set this up so fast, so simple. Go check it out locally just to get a vibe for it, maybe see how much your costs are. Hey, if you have a go and comment below what your costs were for your infrastructure and your applications, that'd be pretty cool. And if you have any other questions, we'll pop an email address below as you can get in touch with InfraCost. But yeah, thank you so much for joining. I am excited to hear people trying this tool out. We were just chatting before, we're both going to be hopefully at FinOps X. So if you see us, you can come say hi. You can tell Sana, it's like, oh, I saw you on the episode on Steph Show.
Please do. I like high fives.
Yeah, come with the high fives. Awesome. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. And we'll see you all in the next one.
Cheers.